Hello, it is August 10th, 2019, a Saturday, and this is Upper Body Part 2. Now the public service announcement. Please do not waste your time watching this video unless you have a very specific reason to. And if you do have a very specific reason to, the reason I say that is this is going to be a waste of time. So if you don't know what's going on, it's just going to waste your time. Or it's something maybe in the background to lull you to sleep because it's going to be painfully boring. And anyway. So, like I said, I don't want to really waste anybody's time. Speaking about not wasting anybody's time, for those that are going to go through this whole thing, there is a way to fast forward this. This is going to be on YouTube, so there is either 3 dots up here if you're using the YouTube app. There's a drop down, and it'll have playback speed. You press playback speed, and the fastest you can get it is 2. If they ever do faster than 2, I would recommend as fast as you possibly can. Then there's if you're watching in a browser, most browsers will come up and it'll have like a little gear thing. Left click onto the gear, and then there'll be playback speed, and then playback speed will pop through and say you want 2. Okay. So what's going to happen? What's this video all about? Well, it's a workout, upper body part 2, the second upper body workout of the week. It's Saturday, so yeah, it's the week's ending up, and here's how it's going to go. It's going to be a warm-up and then the exercises. In between every exercise, there is a breathing exercise, almost every exercise. And here's how that goes down. Well, we'll start out with the warm-up. We'll run through the warm-up and everything, get in very specific detail here right out of the get-go, so you know what's going on. The warm-up consists of a few exercises my dad seems to like that seem to be good for the back. So I'll run through those. Then it is 3 L-shaped chin-ups. Then 4 glide downs. Then 7 inverted upside down sit-ups. Then the second half of the warm-up will be 13 push-ups, 7 air squats, 6 bends. That takes care of the warm-up. Then it is on to the actual workout, which starts out with a breathing exercise, 2 sets of incline bench press. Well, not press, incline bench using dumbbells. Then it is chest machine, 2 sets. Actually, 3 sets on the incline bench. Yeah, 3 sets. And by the way, the sets goes a set of 6, lower the weight, set of 8, lower the weight, set of 10, after the weight's lowered again. So it's consistently starting out the highest weight and then lowering it. All right, the third exercise on this is lat push downs, which is standing, and it's a weird combo exercise that feels bizarrely good. Let's see, after that, it will be hammer curls. And the 5th and last exercise will be kind of a weird one because there is no breath exercise, breathing exercise in between every set. It just starts out with a breathing exercise. That is bent over flies. I repeat, bent over flies. So hopefully the scatterbrained manner in which I discussed the whole thing might resonate, maybe not. That's why it's really good to fast forward till you actually see me on video and like, oh, this is where it's actually starting. And yeah, this is where it's actually starting. Okay. Little bit of swimming type thing. Just a little bit of turn the hands, get it going like that. Shoulder shrugs. Only going to do like sets of 4 on this. Did a set of 40 the other day, and it's amazing. With no weight, even doing a set of 40, you really kind of feel it a little bit. You're like, that's interesting. That's less than comfortable. So I guess it's probably a good way to wake up if you want to wake up and get yourself less than comfortable so you don't go back to sleep, I guess. All right, so that's the upper body half of that. Then it is balance. It's a wonderful thing. I'm gonna get more of it one of these days. But I'm happy with what I got so far. Okay, so that's the exercises that my dad likes. All right. Three L-shaped chin-ups. 1, 2, 3. All right. 4 glide downs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 inverted sit-ups. Gotta put on the special things for this. A little stretch, good opportunity to stretch a little bit. Also, when I finish the sit-ups, it's a good opportunity to stretch a little bit there too. Whew, already feeling my breath. So this is good. There's warmth. I think, what is it, where there's breath, there's warmth. Certainly breathing. Don't like the swinging, but whatever. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that's enough of that. Nice little grab, nice other grab, then opportunity for stretch. Oh, hello down there. Oh, yep. Whew. Another opportunity to stretch if I choose to accept it. Oh. Yeah. No doubt about feeling it. Oh. All right. So, change in Sigrid coming up. Whew. All right. Okay. 13 push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then there's 13 right there. Whew. All right, right into 7 air squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Whew. Okay. That's enough of that. All right. Official workout begins here, right now. Like 11 minutes into the video before they actually get to the workout. But 10-15 minutes worth of warm-up is probably good. Although I probably had about a 3-minute explanation. But that's all right. I already put in my weights. Dialed up the proper numbers on that. Now it's just going to be a breathing exercise. Gonna use my fingers to count. Gonna count like 7 breaths. What I'm gonna try to do is do this all in and out using my nose. Gonna let's say breathe in however long it takes. Then I'm gonna take just a handful of heartbeats and then breathe out. Handful of heartbeats, breathe back in. So the pause when you're holding full and you're holding empty, that's gonna be, I don't know, a specific number of heartbeats that I'll figure out when I start this thing. It might change during the course of it because I think variable heartbeat patterns are a result of finally getting oxygen in your system when it wants it. Okay, here we go. All right, that is goodness right there in the form of a breathing exercise. Now we actually get to the work of the situation. A set of 6 incline press. Fun for the whole family. Also, note to self, got to be careful picking these things up properly. So proper for me is not necessarily bent over, hunched over like this. Kind of straighten myself out, get myself nice and close. And then one at a time. All right. Then kind of get myself into the situation where I can put it on my knees almost. There we go. Very important to put it near my knees so I can unlock my feet from the bench. And then 1 foot at a time, pushing up the weight so I don't have to use my arms to do it because I just don't have the strength to do that. Eventually I might get stronger and be able to do that without this, but this is the way to get my setup position. So I kind of lean back and toss it up with my feet, put my legs back into the position and go. 1, 2, here comes 6. There we go, that's 6. Listen to the script. I upped the weight a little bit for this one. Yeah, I haven't been upping as much as I used to. I've been basically staying within a small envelope, but every now and then it's probably a good time. Last week felt pretty good about these. Everything felt smooth, so why not use that smoothness and make it a little less smooth by adding a tiny fraction, little bit of weight. And good news is the second set is going to be the same as last week. It was just the first set had more weight than last week. Next week I might do the first set and the second set. First set will be the same as this week, and the second set might have a little bit more weight than the second set this week. But it's always descending. I guess that's called oh man, I can't remember the name of it. But it's like the second half of the burnout when you're going down. Burnout's usually you build up and then you go down. I guess a good thing about burnout is you might not need as much of a warm-up or any at all. But, oh man, whew. Certainly feeling that. No doubt about it. Yeah, but the way this thing's been written, for consistency and simplicity, now I'm sure I can get complicated. And I read a book recently that was a little bit more complicated than this. I think the book was called Big Beyond Belief, and it was 2 guys authored it, one a bodybuilder and one doctor, and I guess they're both bodybuilders of some right. I don't know. I didn't see pictures of them. I didn't see their bios. I just read the stuff. A lot of studies of Bulgarian weightlifters and all that kind of stuff, and I guess different types of bodybuilding. And it was referencing a couple things that I'm just never going to do because this is not a profession for me. I don't think I'm ever going to do 2 workouts a day, 6 days a week. Although, if I skip the breathing exercise, I might be able to pull that. But then, again, I think they did say something about waiting 2 minutes between sets. But I think the workouts, basically the way they were listing the workouts, they weren't actually saying, like do this, do this, do this specifically. It was just the grid that they made in the book was more like legs, back, shoulders, arms, So it's like, okay, I guess you get to pick your own exercises for whatever body part. And if you're doing twice a day, 6 days a week, you're stacking it up. I like the recovery thing. I still feel things in my joints, but yesterday I did a little bit of stuff. I don't know what exactly I remember, just doing arm stuff, but not yesterday. Thursday, when I did the lower body, I think I did a comfort tolerance test with some sort of tricep exercise. And because it seems like this day doesn't really isolate the triceps too hard. Although that exercise, I can really isolate the triceps. But anyway, long story short, so I can catch some breath before the breathing exercise, I guess. I was feeling it in my joints yesterday. Specifically, right arm, elbow, feeling something weird. I was just walking with a friend, and I moved my arm a little bit and like, okay, that's not really pain, but that is noticing things are going on. Today, I noticed that there was pain. No, there was something special there yesterday, but that something special diminished greatly to almost nothing, barely a ghost of a thing, a memory of a thing that was almost pain, but not quite. So the recovery is doing pretty good for me. But the biggest thing about the recovery is I gotta really dial in my diet for the results I want. This week has been good, relatively good. eventual goals are going to be gradually stripping down complex carbohydrates till the point where I'm not going to cut off all sugar and all like pasta and bread and all that kind of stuff, but maybe dial it down to the eventual goal is 3 days a week. Only have that stuff in my body 3 days a week. And that's if I'm not going to do any type of ketosis, which that's still on the table. That's still a possibility. I have been flirting with the ketosis idea for a little bit. But I also like the idea of really getting all macronutrients, but that the idea of changing your body to become fat adapted is really intriguing. Not looking forward to the ketosis flu, if that is a thing that'll happen to me. I'm guessing that doesn't happen to everybody, especially if you go into it pretty gently. I've already done a few days where I've almost done very little carbohydrates, and all the carbohydrates I did were pretty simple. I think even if I do ketosis, I might not do full ketosis because I think I'll have a serving of vegetables every day. And vegetables don't have a lot of carbohydrates. A whole bag of a normal sized bag of frozen broccoli is like 30 grams of carbohydrates, which is like a cookie. I don't know, probably a big cookie, but still, it's kind of bizarre. So yeah, complex carbohydrates, lots of carbs, lots of stuff going on there, and I don't know. I don't want my body to not have the ability to break it down. And the same thing with me not doing meat. Eventually, I've almost started this. I think I started this once or twice last year, but I don't think I've done it really this year. Wild caught fish. This year, the regulations on my dad catching fish, you can't catch snook, you can't catch reds, you can't catch the trouts he normally goes, so none of those are keepers. So this year I have not had wild caught fish, and that is I'm thinking once every 3 to 4 months. Just do that just to make sure I don't get indigestion from eating meat and whatnot, and have a good protein source. And also, another thing about reading books is getting influenced, and I probably should look to alternate opinions about this, but based upon what I read in a book called Healthy at 100, it seems like a largely plant-based diet with not random, but small servings of, not small servings, eating wild-caught fish every 3 to 4 months is right. So I'm just locking in step with that idea. Though, like I said, this year the fishing regulations have increased, and so far no fresh wild-caught fish for me this year. Anyway, enough talking. I probably talked for a while. Breathing exercise real quick, and this is probably, I'm hoping this is all the talking we're going to throw around here. Maybe not. Not really in a hurry. Kind of trying to enjoy this thing as much as possible, so I'm willing to take the time to enjoy this. Lucky you. That fast forward thing's a pretty good thing, huh? last one I decided just to hold on empty because kind of felt like a nice place to be, a nice state of being to reside in. So that's good. Yeah. Oh. Hey, if you're actually watching this, thank you. I hope it's going to be worth something to you. I hope it enriches your life. I'm willing to believe it certainly is enriching my life. So, thank you again. By the way, set of 8 coming up. Gotta be careful about wiggling this. I can wiggle the dumbbells into the right place for the most part, but I just gotta not do it too fast. That's kind of an important thing, I guess. Thank goodness I sprung for the stand when buying these dumbbells. All right. Gonna use momentum as my friend. I guess last time was left leg first, so today, right now I'll be right leg first, but I don't really need to balance things out. Not really so OCD like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. Woo. Another reason not to increase the weight too fast is that actually that getting up, that feels awkward. I might want to use more momentum pushing my weight forward on something like that. I don't know. Go. I think we're good. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yeah. There's some goodness in all of this. Wasn't so worried so much about timing the heartbeats and stuff into that one, just falling into the groove on that. Speaking about falling into the groove, I plan on recording some more music soon. Although, I've noticed my setup for live recordings is getting to be 5 steps too long. So I really want to be able to eventually set up to record. So we'll see how that goes. Eventually I think it will go and do something and be interesting, but right now it's not quite like that. You gotta move from one machine to another machine to another machine to editing to it's not exactly where I want to be. The most I would rather want to be is like 2 machines or 3, but that's neither here nor there. But I am excited about that. So new things coming into my life as far as recording music. Not really any opportunities, just things I've been putting off for a little while and coming into fruition. If I really want to be smart and I really want to be disciplined, I got to do more with experimenting in the way of finding the MIDI guitar and creating my own little MIDI guitar type situation. I think it's going to come to pass, but I got to do a few more experiments. I got to really begin this experiment, so I'm on the drawing board on it, you know. But I think it'll be kind of cool. But before doing that, to do my due diligence with 2 other MIDI guitars. I actually have an old MIDI guitar that's not strings, but just buttons and stuff. And I have, hello Mr. Moth, where'd you go? I know exactly where you came from. The other night, I left my light on while I left, and I came back, and my light was on in here, and so there was moths on my door. Open the door, moths go towards the light, so I ended up having a family, an army of moths come into my house, and one just flew by. Probably not a good thing. I hope they don't eat all my clothes. I hope they don't multiply and eat all my clothes. That would be bad. I have to walk around with synthetic shorts that are moth-proof all day. Last set on this. We're almost done with the first exercise of the workout. Aren't you excited? Hasn't it been expedient? All right. There's the info that you need. I'm doing it. That's all the info I need. Talking to future me. Nothing really to say at this juncture. Looking for a reason to talk and put this off. But really, there's no reason. The only information I need is a set of 10. How about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we got another one coming up. Let's do this for number 10. 10. All right. That getting off the incline was not too bad right there. Of course, it was lighter weight, so, you know. But not by much. So, getting the technique to manipulate the weight, but also with an H, I guess it's also. I forgot what I was going to say, but, all right, getting the weight. Not a clue. Not a clue what I was going to say. I hope it wasn't important. Yeah, the word wholesale is apparently a memory eraser. No, it's not. Oh man. Change of scenery. We don't need the bench anymore for any of these exercises, so that's kind of cool. So bench, you've done your job. Gonna use the weights again, so I'm gonna look at the script. I already have a good idea what's next on the weight for that, but gonna look at it, make sure. There we go. Gonna dial that weight in. Is that really the weight? Yeah, I guess I wrote it down. I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna believe in myself. Actually, the funny thing is I say that, and I don't know if it's too light or too heavy. I'm not sure. So it is what it is, and that's what it will be. All right. Oh, man. Huh. Thought I got stuck by a pin. My safety pins did not stick me. That's a good thing. Man. It's been about 22 hours since I last ate. I really gonna take a great shower after this. And then, weird thing is, out of what I was budgeted to eat yesterday, there's one last part, the fake chicken. I didn't finish my whole helping of it, so I need to finish that today. Which I'm excited to do because I've discovered red crushed pepper plus regular pepper plus Dijon mustard is a really bizarrely good thing. If I want to go crazy, I'm going to put some hot sauce in there, and then I'm going to put some, screw it, I'm going to put some peanut butter in there. I'm going to be making my own peanut sauce. Yeah, take something like a liquid hot sauce and put peanut butter with it, and then you make the peanut butter into a liquid. Oh, you got to use very little peanut butter and a lot of hot sauce, but it's worth it. I'll tell you, it's worth it. Believe me. I need to convince you on this fact. No. I think it's worth it. I could be wrong, but yeah. I have no stake whether you believe that a little bit of peanut butter plus hot sauce is something beautiful. Or beautifully tasty. All right, I already dialed in the weight. Thank goodness. Gonna do some breathing exercise. If you and I have a staring contest, you're already gonna win. I like the timed interval of the blinks. That's kind of fun. All right, let's do this. Go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Set of 8. Breathing exercise, lower the weight. I'm going to lower the weight first. Set of 10 after the breathing exercise. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathing exercise, set of 8. Not regretting upping the weight on that first set. That was a good idea. I've had a lot of rest time though in between, so. All right, this one's probably a horrible angle for you, but I'm gonna make do. Hopefully I'll be able to see if I move my arms completely down. That's the goal, move my arms completely down. I know if I hit the end of the track on this, so it goes completely up, so we're good like that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Should have been a set of 8, so a little bonus there because I was feeling a little bit momentum. A little bit of a breathing exercise. This one I'm not going to worry so much about the heartbeats and stuff and the holds. Just going to kind of do. Set of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just realized that there was a weight for the last exercise I didn't set up properly. So I'm going to do that, and then it's going to be the 4th exercise, then it'll be the last exercise, and then we'll be done. So that's good for everybody. Good for the world right there. All right. Yeah, that's a Yeah, that's probably good enough. Okay, that weight is now good to go for the last exercise. We're on the second to last. Why am I moving this? This should be out of the way. Just gonna be simple hammer curls. Breathing exercise first. Set of 8, set of 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Okay. Lower the weight, 7 to 9. Breathing exercise after lowering the weight. That feels right. Whoops. Too light. Too light, right? Nope, I'm dialed in correctly. Not too light. It was okay. Why did it feel too light? I guess that was a really good breathing exercise. Well, we'll see it after I get done with the set of 10 if it's still too light. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's getting heavy. 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you. Last breathing exercise pretty much for the actual workout. Might do a breathing exercise after the workout. Park the bench in the proper spot. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna need a chair for this. Tiny little chair. So we're good. Tiny little chair. I think that'll do just fine. Okay. All right. Shmee. One, 2, 7, 15, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, Did I mention now it's 4 sets of 5? Yep, that's what's happening right now. A little bit of comfort there. A little comfort adjustment. You gotta sit comfortable sometimes. All right, here we go. Not really much of a breathing exercise in between. Yeah, there's no need for, it's only 4 sets of 5. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feeling like there's a lot of momentum in there. Not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little less than that one. Let's find out about this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're definitely feeling it. There is warmth in my arms and shoulders. A little bit in my back. It should really be in my back. Go figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Just chill out on that note for a half second. All right. Oh, there you go. That's the end of the workout. Definitely doing a breathing exercise. There's no doubt about it. Gonna put these away. Oh, they were so much lighter before. Oh. Still manageable though. So there it is. Pretty simple, basic workout. Not a lot to it. 5 exercises, bit of a warm-up, lots of breathing exercises, all the favorite food groups. I'm joking about that. All the favorite workout groups, not really. I'm sure somebody would get into a deeply held argument about what I'm not doing right. And you know what? I might believe them. But this is the path I've chosen. I'm not gonna play with the variables too much. Just gonna stick with this. I am open to some optimization, but not too much. Oh, I mean, it seems like it's working slowly but surely. It took me a little while to, I don't know if this is it. Maybe it's just a blaming thing. I think it was a combination of 2 things. Weight is not the most important thing for me, but it is important. Like I said, I want to make sure my knees don't hurt, and the gateway to making my knees not hurt was losing a bit of weight, and it's really made the difference with that. I can run again, and that's important. Not that I couldn't run. If I had to, I could, but run for kind of fun, you know. But although I'm seeing more benefit in consistently walking, jogging, and then maybe every now and then wind sprints. I remember one time I did wind sprints before going to the doctor. This was years ago, and he was like, "Oh my God." He sent me to a specialist and had me go to some lab for some tests and stuff. And then I realized, oh wait, he thought I had high blood pressure and stuff because I did wind sprints. Like, I think it was like a half hour before, so I didn't think it would matter. But then like the next time he saw me, it was like, oh, everything's fine. Good thing you didn't need that medication. And I'm like, great thing.
yeah, I don't want to be, I want to figure out any way I can not to be in a big pharma's pocket, because one pill leads to another pill to correct the side effects from the first pill, and then the combination of those two leads to another pill that combats the side effects that only happens when those first two pills are taken together. Now you have these three, and yeah, the dominoes keep falling. So if I can, diet, exercise. And what do I mean by diet? Exercise is obviously this. The main exercise I'm doing is strength training. That's the one that's most important. That's why I'm videotaping this. That's why I'm holding myself accountable for this. Cardio, not so much. Not doing a lot of cardio, to be honest with you. But I might do more and more walks, preferably walks that take about an hour. Just nice walks where you can feel it, but you're not, keep the joints lubricated, keep the oil flowing around the engine, I guess. Then, some other cardio, like I said, in the next few months, whenever it is, I finish the Tabata album. I'm going to be doing with that. I'm going to be working out Tabata with that, so that's going to be my intense cardio. So I think between just those two, I might not even need to do jogs and runs and fast swims. Slow swims are great. And there's something a friend of mine really pointed out about swimming underwater. The isolation of it's really, really nice for some good headspace sometimes. So that's an almost meditative action, slowly swimming underwater. Let's see here. So yeah, these are ideas for my life. Good stuff. Read a book recently that I just devoured it in like one day. Just a book called Everything is Fucked. And oh man, I mean it's an interesting title, but there are so many things in that book that just jives with so many of my beliefs. It's kind of scary, and it's just like finally I'm hearing this from another source besides myself, and it's just in such a way, and it's done better than I've put it before. Book starts out with the guy that Will Tom, something like that, Polecki. I am so bad with my memory sometimes, but Polish guy that volunteered to set up a spy network in a concentration camp in World War II. Volunteered. As far as I know, that's the only human being that's volunteered to go into a concentration camp, and knowing what a concentration camp is. Wow, it is. And he set up a spy network there and got out and lived through the war, and only to be captured, tortured for a couple years by the Soviets, and then I think executed. That book starts out with that, and it's just like, this is the story of a hero. Like, this guy had his beliefs, and he was willing to do what it took for his beliefs, and it was just amazing. Hearing a little bit about that, reading a little bit about that, and it got me thinking, like, what I think, I often think about, like, complaining, and then I think about somebody like that from history, and I love the fact that before the complaint gets this far out of my throat, it just stops. As soon as I think about something like that. One of the leaders in like the Haitian Revolution is kind of one of my go-tos. That guy, whew, so many folks from history that just had horrible and just pushed through it and just were complete and utter badasses. Oh man, it's amazing to me. But anyway, that's all besides the point. The real point right now is this. Got some talking out of the way. That feels good. There's something else I was going to talk about. It's probably not important anyway. Thoughts on grief and people leaving and stuff like that. A lot of that going around, and I guess the longer you live, the more that goes around, unless you're unlucky enough to be one of them. Want to make it like a mental exercise. It's like not necessarily a 5-year plan or a 1-month plan, but just like if you had no lottery ticket wins, like 0 lottery tickets bought, 0 lottery tickets wins, 0 goals dependent upon another person. what kind of goals are you going to accomplish just solely? Like if you say, oh, I'm going to get a new job, but you've been rejected from the last 60 to 200 places you've applied for, that has a gatekeeper, that's another person. But saying something like, without a gatekeeper, that's another person, like you're the only gatekeeper towards that goal, it's like a goal would be like, oh, I'm going to write a book. Like you're the only gatekeeper for that goal, pretty much. So like, basically goals without gatekeepers, I guess it is. And if it's too, it's like, oh, I'm going to be making 6 figures. Well, that probably has a few gatekeepers involved. I mean, depending upon the specifics, if there's a specific way, then that's, but like, let's say writing a book versus making money with the book. The making money with the book is gatekeepers. Recording an album versus, making money selling an album. And as far as I know, the music industry, I can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine. If I work really hard, I can imagine trying to make a living with music, but I'll do music hopefully, the rest of my life. But as far as trying to make money with it, thinnest sliver of hope. And I guess there's a lot of things like that in my life. Thinnest sliver of hope if there is not outright no hope. And in some ways, I look at that as a good thing. A lot of the goals that involve gatekeepers, aka other people, just eliminating those goals. It's just like, let's say you have a goal to, I don't know, like goals involving other ones. Like if you say, I'm gonna beat this guy in a race, like, okay, well that gatekeeper is the guy. And let's say you beat the guy in a race, but you didn't really work out that hard. He just had a bad day and you raced him until he had a bad day. Well, that's not really a goal without a gatekeeper. So it seems like goals without gatekeepers seem far more pure. And then like a 1 hour, 1 year, 1 month, 5 month, a decade, a century set of goals. 1 century from now. There might be some gatekeepers on that are not of the human variety on living another century. Like your own body might be the gatekeeper. But so goals without gatekeepers. And that really wasn't in that book. The book actually didn't really deal with it. In some ways it dealt with goals. It dealt with motivations. But this is something I'm kind of playing around with myself, and it seems a lot healthier to, instead of focusing on what you want and all these things you want and don't have, focus on what you have and can do good things with. Do the best you can with what you have. I really, really like that. Ever since I was a little kid, like it's always seemed like something that's been playing around in my head as like one of those tools for life. And because it's so trite. Of course I'm going to do the best with what I have. Well, let's make it a little bit more complex than that. Instead of drooling over something you don't have and want, why not look at what you do have and start focusing on, am I getting the best out of this? In some ways, some people would say, am I getting the best? Am I doing the best I can with this relationship? Am I doing, instead of pursuing another or something like that? But then again, that's a whole other ball wax. That's I guess it's reframing the goals too. Let's say in a relationship, you're like, your goal is to do the best I can with it, which means, spending X amount of hours doing X amount of activities, doing activity A, B, and C with person Z, like that is like, okay, that's the specifics. Like I can patch through that goal. I can do those things. And that person's not necessarily the gatekeeper, especially if you just do attempts. It's like, all right, I'm going to ask this person to go here with me on this day or within this time frame. I've done the ask, I've fulfilled my goal accomplished, whether they said yes or no, goal still accomplished. So goals without gatekeepers can, even if you're creative enough, be applied to relationships and things that do involve other people, as long as you get out and And I know the word try has a bad rap, but I like the word try much better than I like four-letter words like hope and love. So yeah, I definitely like the word try, because I'm willing to try and I'm willing to fail. It seems like people that hate the word try sometimes, I don't know if it's misreading the whole Yoda thing. There is no try, just do, whatever. I never liked that because I looked at it from the perspective of, well, you could fail. There's two teams playing a football game, and one of them usually is going to lose. If they, didn't bother, there's only do, there is no try, come on. Do the best you can. Sometimes do your best and don't worry about it. Sometimes just, do the best with what you got. It circles back to that. It's so universal. But within its universality, within its cliche, there's so many nuances to it. And like I said, goals without gatekeepers is a huge thing about doing the best you can with what you got. Yeah. But then there's other things that have been running around in my head. When I was a little kid, I remember, somebody said, strength is not what, what was it? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I just no, that doesn't feel true. If your arm is strong and you get your fingers cut off, your arm is probably not stronger. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you can't grab stuff and move stuff. So no, technically, it didn't kill you, but it didn't make you stronger. You take a biopsy of the muscle in your arm. You take a whole bunch of it didn't kill you, but that's not making you stronger. The complete opposite. You're removing muscle tissue. You're actually weaker. So yeah, I never really liked that, but I saw the sentiment in that, whatever doesn't kill me that makes me stronger, and it was like, okay. I switched it around when I was a little kid, and I was like, there's some truth in there, but it's too clouded, it's too easily screwed up. There's too many examples I can think of that this just doesn't ring true. So I switched it up, and strength is not necessarily what you have, but what you can live without. And then I kind of switched it up, I can live without this, and I can live without this, and even that one's easy to prove false, but it felt far more true than whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. So yeah, strength is is not necessarily what you have, but what you can live without. There's something very powerful there, and if you're disenfranchised in any aspect of your life, you can look at that and be like, I can gain strength from that. So that there's an amazing amount of something there, motivation, some goodness. I don't know. Maybe it's a band-aid for emotional wounds. Who knows? But there's something there. I'd like to believe. Like I said, I'm trying not to be too certain about anything. So I'll be willing to move in any direction if and when I'm proven wrong on something. Because I really care about, progressing. And if you can't see your failures, it's going to be kind of hard to progress. Anyway, after all these things have been said, now it's time to do something. And that doing is breathe. Just breathe. Goodness here. I had some random thoughts running around in my head, but I think I'm going to keep some of those to myself. I already have an idea that I'm just exposing way too much of myself. I listen to some of the stuff I say like a week later, a day later, or whatever. That's been captured on video, and I'm gonna do myself the favor and leave it out there for the world, but it's just too much me. I don't know. And it's not like I'm necessarily afraid somebody's gonna just rip me to shreds, either rightly or wrongly. I mean, I'd rather they do it rightly, like point out real logical inconsistencies, like, okay, this principle doesn't work because this, and this. Here's a better principle. Try changing this for this. Like, that's awesome, don't come to me with a problem unless you have a solution type idea. And your solution better not be, oh yeah, just kill yourself. That's not within the realm of good solutions. Maybe for you, but not for me. If someone says just kill myself, like, really? That's not within the realm of good solutions for me. But yeah, too much myself is out into the world. But hey, I had someone I actually really trust say, hey, put yourself out there in a whole bunch of different ways. Put yourself out there. He and I are under two different sets of beliefs, but the final logical consistency in my belief system is there's a lot more to gain by putting myself out there than there is to lose, I think. I'm not certain. Well, there's things to lose, but the probability of gaining is so much. Gaining friendships, gaining good conversation, gaining insight that would have taken me years to get, as opposed to like somebody who's already been through the mental gymnastics to wherever I'm starting out. They've already done all the rigmarole to get here, and they clue me in on something, and it's like, hey, maybe if you try this, boom. So like the possibility of that is just by putting yourself out there, putting videos on YouTube, talking to random people all the time. And there is a certain excitement just randomly talking to strangers. It is weird, and girls think you're creepy. Any dude just that doesn't say, hey, I'm either gay or married, and even not so much the married thing, but doesn't come out of the gate like that. If you just randomly talk to a girl, a woman, I should be using the term woman for women that are over 18 and girls for under 18, but I think of dudes that are 50 as boys, so boys and girls, boys and girls. But I should be using the term man for men that are over 18, so men and women. So talking to a woman, you instantly get the fact that, like, even if you have nothing, just the fact that you are who you are, especially for me, you instantly get that vibe, like, oh, you're a creep. But getting past that and just knowing that that's going to happen if you're talking to strangers. The good news is old ladies usually don't give the creep vibe to me. Sometimes dudes think I'm hitting on them. And that's my fault too. I'm too friendly. God, what was it? I think I've already done this one on video, but there was a time I talked to a dude at like the gym. And this is when I was working out infrequently, going intense, and then like injuring myself and then quitting the workouts or whatever, just getting lazy basically. Without this level of accountability, thank goodness. He said, we talked about something. I think it was some headphones I had or a Kindle or something. And I think I had my Kindle doing text-to-speech. And we were talking about that, and he thought that was cool, and I really enjoyed talking with him. And I guess I just like, wow, hey, what's your life like? Or some of my open-ended questions. Like, I don't talk about the weather because, as I put it, everybody talks about the weather, but nobody's built a machine to control it. So what about the weather? But yeah, and it's like something I don't care to think about. Hey, if it's uncomfortable, I'm going to go feel uncomfortable. If it's comfortable, then I don't think about it and I'm comfortable anyway. It's just a logical standstill. I know it's just social noise. If people want to say something but they can't think of anything else to say, they'll talk about the weather. I get it. So I'm not going to poo-poo on it too hard. But I don't go there personally. I go with open-ended questions. What are my pet peeve? Appreciating life. Like, what are some things that you really appreciate about your life? And I'll tell you like 3 things, because ultimately they'll be like, I'm alive, my family, and my pets, or my job, or whatever. It's just generic. Like, you can put it on a dartboard, and the dartboard's this big. It says family. It says job. It says friends, close ones, pets, whatever. It's like all that. And the real fun stuff, the thing that makes a person an individual, is stuff that's not in that common ground. So, like, asking again, like, okay, beyond that, now I've already answered, we got the common stuff out of the way, beyond that, and we go into that. But when I start doing that with folks, my goodness, what I should probably do is lead with a weird example. Like, the other day I saw a giant spider, and it looked really cool, and it didn't jump on me. So, but, like, I'll be saying something like that, and I remember the dude specifically in the gym was like, wow, those are nice shoes. And I'm like, why the hell is he talking about my shoes? Oh, wait. And then, like, as soon as I thought that, he's like, my wife has a pair of shoes just like that. And I'm just like, wow, you just put a woman trick. The woman trick is, I'll give you an example. A woman will ask you, you're talking to a woman, she'll ask you where you're from. And if I ever get this from a woman, I immediately just go to Timbuktu. Oh, from Timbuktu. And she'll just say, oh, my husband, or she's not wearing a ring, she'll be like, my boyfriend's from Timbuktu, whether she has a boyfriend or not. My boyfriend's from Timbuktu. And then just for me, just because I set it up with Timbuktu, and it's like, what's better than one boyfriend from Timbuktu? 2 boyfriends from Timbuktu. And just kind of laugh about it, because I know where she's going with it. I just kind of set it up in a playful way. And it makes me laugh. It's never done anything good with a relationship with that particular stranger at any time, but it still makes me laugh. But anyway, that is a classic woman trick. I think they all go into a special sex ed thing at 6th grade, and they explain that tactic. And dudes are so dense that men never quite get that. I don't know. But eventually, if you hear it 1,000 times, you're like, oh, I know the next few words. She asked me where I'm from. Immediately, I'm going to magically be from the same place as her imaginary boyfriend. Gotcha. Anyway, long story short, that dude was like, wow, those are nice shoes. I'm like, okay, da-da-da-da-da. He's like, my wife has shoes like those. And I'm just like, listen, dude, I'm not hitting on you. You don't have to pull that my wife has, whether you have a wife or a girlfriend or not, don't worry, I'm not hitting on you. But I appreciate that. Hopefully you genuinely do like my shoes. Hey, they're just shoes. I don't really think too much about them. They were cheap and they were effective. They were cheap and they are effective, I guess I should say. But anyway, yeah, basically I don't remember word for word what I said, but that first part was pretty spot on. The cheap and effective thing, I think that's just something I added right now. To the memory. I don't know if I said that or not. So yeah, life is weird. But yeah, where did I start that from? Talking to strangers. It has its pitfalls, and you'll get a lot of them. But the upside is so much better than the downside. And the good news is, even getting good with dealing with the downside is getting really good at dealing with the downside is an upside all of its own. So yeah, that was his logical argument for putting my stuff out there, being more available to the world, blah, blah, blah. And I shouldn't say blah, 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 because hopefully it will be helpful and will enrich my life. And the accountability fact already has. So anyway, lots of talking. End of workout. Later it shall be.